I'm just white Asian. It was like an Indian arranged marriage in Singapore where
you don't know each other and now you got to get to know each other.
Exactly. And then maybe you fight at the beginning and then you accept and you get to know each other and you actually realize how much you love each other.
Welcome to another episode of YanaTV. Today, the tables, or should I say the seats, have turned because I am your host today, Anita Kapoor. And who am I interviewing if not the founder of YanaTV, Yana Fry?
That was quite an introduction. I could learn from this.
I learned from the best. I was there the last time. So
and it was an amazing conversation. I love that.
It really was.
By the way, guys, you want to make sure go and listen to this on this channel if you haven't yet. This is my pitch for Anita. But so thank you for being with us today.
Okay, so here we are. On the cusp of a new year. It's been 6 months since YanaTV aired and came into our consciousness, and we all sit wrapped with attention every time an episode comes out to see who has she got, what is happening. How does it feel for you right now?
Well, first of all, I love New Year. It's my favorite holiday in a year, probably. So I do feel very sort of magical every New Year. But I think this particular one feels even more magical because YanaTV just brings like so much positivity and inspiration, not only in other people's life, but in my life. You know, I get to talk to amazing people like yourself and others, and I really get to know them and learn so much, and then also share that with the audience. So it feels like I'm doing what I love and benefiting other people. So it feels just very fulfilling.
It's like conversations with friends.
Exactly. It's like deep, meaningful conversation with friends.
That kind of leads me very nicely to the next question I want to ask you, actually, is because you have a little bit of a tagline, and that is inspiring conversations with the movers and shakers of Asia who are changing the world. So my question is, how did you actually conceive of the need for the show? And how do you define a mover and shaker? What was the vision?
Yeah, I love it. Well, first of all, my vision is Asia. So that's the most important part. I mean, I just love Asia, and I came here 15 years ago, and I feel that in my heart, I am actually very Asian, even though I look very Western. So I definitely have this deep connection with Asia. And I find that, you know, in Asia, people have this very subtle, unspoken quality, which is hard to describe with words, especially for the Western mind. But there are many things which are not said, or many things that are not tangible, but they are there. And this is how society is built. And I really admire this. So because I have been living here and working just for so many years, I noticed that, you know, Asian people of different cultures, from different countries, there are differences in mentality, how they perceive information, how they communicate, how make decisions, how relate, let's say, compared to the Western culture. And sort of I saw that there is this huge gap, we could say, because Asia is also very closed in itself. I mean, there's so many people here. Why would you care about anything else? So I understand. But it's hard to understand for the rest of the world. And so a big part of this is sort of it's through the form of edutainment, because we don't want to lecture really anyone, everyone is an adult, but just to bring stories of those people that we call movers and shakers in Asia, because their voices are not usually seen on a global scale. And I mean, my vision, I would love for YanaTV to be that place where people in Asia and outside of Asia go to when they want to hear amazing story and get to know what is happening actually in Asia from those movers and shakers.
I have noticed that your guest list is extremely diverse. It's very multicultural, it's extremely expansive. Tell me a little bit about how you actually decide who's going to turn up on YanaTV.
Yes, that's another great question. Well, to me, it actually reflects a little bit what Singapore is about, because we are in Singapore. And I mean, what I love about Singapore the most is actually diversity of cultures. And I mean, I'm a person who lives all over the world and traveled all over the world. I have never felt as much at home as I'm feeling in Singapore because of the cultural inclusion. So to me, it's really important. And I believe the world needs even more inclusion. So when we selecting the guests, I'm trying my best to just include as much people as we can in terms of your background, religion, skin color, belief system, how you relate to the world, and with anything else pretty much. So that when I say that we want to showcase the voices of Asian movers and shakers, I want this to be a variety, so that people that are watching, they're hearing actually from people of different perspectives, but all around Asia, right? So maybe to answer your question, how to choose, largely based on instinct. And then I know that the interviews look very sort of spontaneous and casual. I can tell you a secret, we prepare. We actually prepare for the interviews with guests in terms of like, we don't have prepared questions. But for me, it's important to meet each guest before the show. So we have either calls or meetings when I see them, in real life.
Yeah, and I think that's actually the secret or the magic of looking effortless, is that there's a lot of preparation. Yes. I really like what you said just now about how the guest list should really have an accurate representation of where you are. Because I think there's lots of different types of podcasts and talk shows and things like that that are very interesting to listen to. But a place like Singapore is, as you said, deeply multicultural, and it should definitely show up in your guest list, I think.
Yes, that's exactly what we are doing, because sometimes there are some brilliant shows and podcasts and the content is amazing, but then when I look at who are the people, and if it is like a particular culture or a particular language, then it doesn't show me the variety.
Absolutely.
And I want to see the variety.
That's what I want to see, I want to hear, I want to learn from a variety of thoughts and ideas and cultures and backgrounds. So, okay, how did you actually get to know Singapore that way? You know, and how you allowed Singapore to get to know you? It's been now you said 15 years, I think you said it's been?
I came here in 2008. So we are honest, right? Here.
Always.
I didn't want to come to Singapore. You could say, in a way, life dragged me here, and I was, like those puppies that don't want to go and you try to pull them. This was me. I really didn't want to go here, and I have never even been to Asia when I moved to Singapore at that time. So my entire sort of journey was Europe, US, Latin America, So Asia was something, it was like a different planet. And so to me, it's kind of interesting how life just insists, if you're meant to be in a particular place,
you are going.
You are going, exactly. I had to come here, and for family reasons, and I didn't want to stay. And I tried to leave every year for the first 5 years, and I couldn't, because something would happen and there was another reason to stay. So Singapore was just keeping me and keeping me and keeping me. And it's like one of those love stories when it was not love from the first sight. So we kind of took some time to get to know each other.
Yeah.
I struggled with heat, with food, with people also at the beginning, because many things are very different and you have to, get used to certain things. And then I just surrendered. After being here, I think it was 5 years, I wanted to move to Australia, because I still was thinking that I'm very Western. So I wanted to go to Western culture because I felt I would be better understood there or accepted or something else. And I wanted to move to Australia, and again, life just sort of, redirected, and, for all other sort of reasons, said, you are staying in Singapore. And that's when my journey started, when I actually started Singapore, letting to get to know me.
Yeah.
So that's, just to answer your question. And it's a lot through people. Maybe that's why right now I'm doing the show. That it's just talking with people, spending time with people, working with people. And I found people to be just incredible. I don't know, very, very genuinely curious and very open, like very friendly towards foreigner, because at the time I still thought of myself as a foreigner in Asia. So now I just think I'm just white Asian. I'm
a white Asian.
Yes, I'm a white Asian. So it was, maybe it was like an Indian arranged marriage, with Singapore, where you sort of meet, you don't date.
You don't date, you kind of know each other, and now you got to get to know each other.
Exactly, and then maybe you fight at the beginning, and and then you accept, and you get to know each other, and you actually realize how much you love each other. And then this love deepens, year after year after year, and then you build wonderful relationship.
And then it just keeps going.
Then it just keeps going.
So, okay, talking about the relationship that you created with the country, and how the country has also opened its arms and created a relationship with you, I feel that that's what you bring into your conversations with all of your guests as well. I think every time someone's sitting on your couch, there is this sense of connectivity that comes quite fast, actually. There's also a very, it feels very personal and very intimate as well. So to function this kind of a way, though, is not something that you can just pretend to do. I know that, you know, it calls upon parts of us that are deeper, actually. So what is being accessed when you are sitting there? When you're sitting in this lovely yellow chair that I'm sitting in today and enjoying it? What's being accessed here? Is it values? Is it spirituality? What's this expansiveness that you draw from?
I love the question. And the word that comes to my mind is shared humanity. This is, I feel, what is being accessed. And that's why we connect with people. It doesn't matter what culture they're from or their background, but it's like a heart-to-heart, human-to-human level.
Yeah.
And this is how I see guests when I look at them. Like, I don't see what is their status or, you know, which country they're from or how did they grow up. I see a human being, and I'm interested in the human being. And I'm coming with this deep, it's like a decision I make before they show up. I'm just deciding I'm going to love them. You know, so I'm sitting in this chair and I'm loving them before they even said anything.
That is beautiful. I've decided that I'm going to love you. Thank God she loved me, guys. Thank God she loved me.
It's very easy to love you. Come on, Anita. Everyone loves Anita.
I just had to put that in there. So let's bring it then now to where we are right now. What are you actually learning in the process of writing and directing and hosting YanaTV?
Wow, great question. First, that I love doing that. And it's interesting also to receive this feedback from people around me. Like, everyone tells me this is exactly what I should be doing. And all my friends and family have been very supportive from the very beginning. So it seems like it brings out the really important qualities in me. And I feel it's also the same with my guests when I'm trying to bring out the best in each person that shows up and, you know, sits on this chair. I mean, you can't call it a business, but it is a startup in a way, because there is a studio and there are people and there is post-production and you have to arrange processes. So it has been a very interesting journey also just to learn, okay, so we are like a startup, so we have a product and we are delivering it to the society. Products, so we're delivering something meaningful, but we still have to figure out, you know, how do you monetize it, right? Like, what do you do with those things? How do you cover the cost? How do you make the profit to expand even more? So it was an interesting journey, sort of physical and metaphysical world together.
I remember you telling me a really, really interesting story about a little bit about your journey sort of before YanaTV. Well, I mean, I think YanaTV was always inside you somewhere, but the processes that you went through in your life to get to where you are and think how you do right here. You spent a lot of time in monasteries.
I have.
So this is a little known story.
It's true.
And it's a great story, and I'm going to let you tell it.
Well, I think what's important to say here that I was born in a mystical family. I think it's a big part of that. My mom is a modern mystic, so she definitely shaped kind of and influenced my curiosity about spirituality and consciousness, and particularly actually Asia in terms of cultures, Indian culture, Tibetan culture, like all of those mystical aspects. And then I think people kind of turn to spirituality for a variety of reasons, but the most common one probably would be pain. And I was not an exception, right? So like, when nothing else is helping in this world, then you think, okay, God must help.
Yeah.
And then whatever you define,
there's got to be somebody.
There's got to be somebody who's going to heal me. And whatever your definition of God, like, I am not coming from a religious family. I'm coming more from a spiritual family. Even though I was born as Orthodox, you know, we didn't really follow like a particular God. And so in my eyes, it was, okay, there is something there that I want to understand. And I think it was like, I was in my very late 20s, and I just had like really bad experiences in life, like I had difficult childhood, difficult teenage years, I had very difficult first marriage, and just my 20s, there was a lot of drama and almost like a PTSD, after that. And I didn't know how to heal myself. So I actually turned to spirituality more, looking for healing. And so with all the monasteries and the monks and the yogis, I spent maybe about 12 years studying and also staying and living there. And it is a very interesting story because most of the time when I would show up somewhere at the monastery, and they would largely be either in India or Bhutan, China also, I would be the only white person, and I would be definitely the only white woman showing up there. So I clearly have some kind of karmic connection probably with the cultures.
I told you, it's all past life.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I did a lot of practices because I was trying to understand my mind, I was trying to understand my body, I was trying to heal again, right? And then once the healing takes place, then of course, when you progress with your practice, you want to sort of go maybe to higher states of consciousness, and that's maybe where you feel more love, your heart opens up, you start genuinely see interconnectivity between everything and everyone, and you sort of see past religions and skin colors and everything else, because everything is connected and everything is vibrating, exactly. So that's what you start accessing. So after all those years of studying, pretty much, and I was a good student, I was like very dedicated. If they tell me you're going to repeat, 100,000 times this mantra, I'm going to do that. And then one day, sort of monks, and particularly at the time, my teacher, one of the lamas, he just called me up and he said, look, I think it's time for you to go. And I still remember, I'm like, can you say it again? I'm not sure. Just repeat the sentence. I'm not sure I understood what you just said. And he was, I think you should leave. And my first reaction was, did I do something wrong? Do you need me to, wipe the floors or do something?
Yeah, what have I done?
What have I done? Exactly. Basically, what have I done that you're kicking me out from the monastery? And he said, well, you're ready. And I was like, ready for what? And he was like, you're ready to go back in a society because that's where you belong.
Ooh.
And in my mind, it was, but I belong here. I want to be here. And to his credit, he was very wise. You see all those people here, monks, nuns, yogis, yoginis, who are doing it for life. And this is their destiny. They are born into this culture. This is their contribution. Yeah. You're a person who born in a society, and you come more from the Western culture, right? Probably this way. So you have an entirely different upbringing, and you have also different skills, connection, communication, relatability. So everything that you learned now here, go into the world and find a way to share it, the practices, the way how they're in a traditional school, but the values. And share them with the people and inspire people, and it's going to be your practice. Practice at home when your family upsets you or when something else happens.
Real world things.
Exactly, real world things.
Because it's very easy, I think, to be at our spiritual best and our highest vibration when we are away from everyday life. So simple.
Yes. So here I am, practicing my spiritual practice.
I was going to say, this is it, basically. So what's next? What happens? 2024 is
next. 2024
around the corner.
I feel it's time to expand in various areas of my life, and including YanaTV. So to me, 2024 is also year of dragon, right? I know this part of the world, it's sort of like a very mystical and very auspicious year. And so to me, it feels that this year comes just with a lot of power. So I think that there's going to be a lot of boom, something, in a good way. And so for YanaTV, I just would like, to scale it as much as we can in this year and to reach more people with the content that is really important for them. And then, probably my biggest vision, and we're already step by step doing that, I would love to create a community around it. So right now, I think I'm conceptualizing how to do it. For example, already among YanaTV guests, we are starting doing this, in events, so when people meet each other. But I also would love, for our audience, for people who are listening to participate and join us. Because again, I feel that there is something like very magical and human connection. That when we
Definitely.
come together in a physical space. So maybe more events. Maybe there will be YanaTV event next year.
Touched by YanaTV.
Yes, touched by YanaTV. You know, yes.
Yeah, so building a community.
Building a community and integrating, right? So like here we have these people who have so much at their fingertips. They're thought leaders, they're business people, they're politicians, they are activists. You know, they're doing things in life. So it would be also nice to channel it even more back into the community and like support courses and support initiatives. I would like to do that very much.
I'm so looking forward to it. It's been fabulous to sit in the Yana yellow chair and to be able to sit here and just hear from you and to kind of feel you and to feel that energy that you actually push out around another person. You're doing it again to me here, where I'm just listening and getting pulled into it. So before I get pulled in any further, I'm going to say goodbye to all of you guys, because it has been fabulous to sit here and to be a guest host and to interview Yana. And you heard it here first. She's powering through, firing through into the year of the dragon, building communities. We're going to see so much more of Yana and YanaTV. So watch this space. How I felt, and you know, I watched some of the other
this
episodes.
very couch.
There's some magic in that
There's
green
magic
couch.
in this green. It's like sprinkle.
Totally.